When my phone screen lit up that night, I never imagined one accidental call would shatter everything I'd believed in for nearly a year. I thought I'd found the woman of my life until I heard her call me a placeholder with her own voice. If you think you'll never be cheated on, listen to my whole story. My name is Jake, and I'm 34 years old. I've been working as a software engineer at Vector Labs, a promising startup in downtown Seattle, for the past 5 years. The job pays well, the team is brilliant, and I genuinely love what I do. Until recently, I thought my personal life was finally falling into place too. I'd been dating Lauren for almost a year, and everything seemed perfect. She was 29, worked in event marketing, and had this infectious energy that lit up every room she entered. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party, and I was immediately drawn to her confidence and charm. Lauren was everything I thought I wanted in a partner. She was beautiful, with long auburn hair and green eyes that sparkled when she laughed. She was ambitious, always talking about her next big project or client event. She was affectionate, always finding excuses to touch my arm or kiss my cheek in public. Our relationship moved fast, but felt natural. Within 3 months, she was spending most weekends at my apartment. By 6 months, we'd met each other's families and friends. We talked about moving in together, maybe getting a place closer to both our offices. There was only one thing that occasionally bothered me about our relationship. Lauren was extremely protective of her phone. She'd angle it away when texting, take calls in another room, and kept it face down during meals. When I'd asked about it once, she'd laughed it off, saying she dealt with confidential client information and had signed NDAs. It made sense, and I respected her professionalism. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, right? I never wanted to be that guy who snooped through his girlfriend's messages. Lauren had mentioned her ex-boyfriend Mark a few times early in our relationship. They'd dated for 3 years before he got a job offer in Chicago that was too good to pass up. According to her, they'd tried long distance for a few months before mutually deciding to end things. She assured me it was completely over, that they didn't even keep in touch anymore. Mark was part of her past, and I was her present and future. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Looking back now, there were probably signs I missed or chose to ignore. The way she'd sometimes get distracted mid-conversation, staring at her phone with a slight smile. The occasional late-night work emergencies that required her immediate attention. The way she'd sometimes call out someone else's name in her sleep, though she claimed it was just random dream nonsense. Love makes you blind to red flags, doesn't it? You see what you want to see. Believe what you need to believe to keep the fairy tale alive. It was a Thursday evening in late October when everything changed. I was working from home that day, debugging some particularly stubborn code for a new feature we were rolling out. My apartment was quiet except for the hum of my laptop and the rain pattering against the windows. I'd been so focused on my work that I'd barely noticed the time passing. It was already past 8, and I was considering ordering takeout when my phone rang. Lauren's name and photo appeared on my screen. Perfect timing, I thought. Maybe she'd want to grab dinner together. I answered with a smile, ready to suggest that new Thai place she'd been wanting to try. Hey babe, I was just thinking about... But instead of Lauren's voice, I heard muffled sounds, like the phone was in her pocket or bag. I could make out voices in the background, the clink of glasses, maybe restaurant ambiance. A butt dial. I was about to hang up when I heard her laugh. That distinctive, musical laugh I'd fallen in love with. Curiosity got the better of me. I'd listen for a few seconds, maybe hear what she was up to. Then text her about the accidental call later. Then I heard a man's voice, deep and warm. God, I've missed that laugh. My stomach tightened. Who was she with? The voice continued. You look amazing, Lauren. Seattle's been good to you. You're not looking too bad yourself, Chicago boy. Lauren replied, and I could hear the smile in her voice. My mind raced. Chicago? No, it couldn't be. I can't believe it's been almost a year since I've seen you, the man said. When you called last week, I wasn't sure if... Mark. Lauren interrupted, and my blood ran cold. I told you, I needed to see you. Being with Jake is It's been fine, but it's not the same. I miss you. God, I miss you so much it hurts. I sat frozen at my desk, the phone pressed against my ear, my other hand gripping the edge of the table so hard my knuckles went white. This couldn't be happening. This had to be some misunderstanding. Mark's voice was gentle. What about Jake? You said things were serious with him. Lauren sighed, and I heard what sounded like her hand sliding across the table. He's a good guy. Sweet, stable, has his life together. He adores me. But Mark prompted. But he's not you, Lauren said, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. He never was. Jake's just… God, this sounds terrible, but he's just been keeping your place warm. A placeholder until you came back. The word hit me like a physical blow. Placeholder. After almost a year together, after all our plans and dreams, I was just a placeholder. Lauren, Mark's voice held a warning. I know, she continued quickly. It's not fair to him. But what was I supposed to do? You left? Mark, you chose Chicago over us. I couldn't just sit around waiting, could I? I needed someone. And Jake was there. He's been good to me. Really good. But every time he touches me, I think of you. Every time he says he loves me, I hear your voice instead. My hands were shaking now. Part of me wanted to hang up, to pretend I'd never heard any of this. But I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but listen to my world crumbling through a phone speaker. So what are you saying? Mark asked. You want to try again, even with the distance? I'll move to Chicago, Lauren said without hesitation. My company has an office there. I've already looked into transferring. I need to know you want this too, that you want me. There was a long pause. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. What about Jake? Mark asked again. You'll break up with him. Lauren laughed. But it wasn't the warm laugh I knew. This one was cold, dismissive. The second you say yes, I'm done with him. I'll probably tell him some story about not being ready for commitment or needing to focus on my career. He'll be hurt, but he'll get over it. Guys like Jake always do. They find another nice girl, get married, have babies, live their nice, boring lives. You're being cruel, Mark said, but there was amusement in his tone. I'm being honest, Lauren countered. Jake's the kind of guy you marry when you're ready to settle. Safe, predictable, devoted. But you're the kind of guy who makes life exciting. You're the one I think about when I'm lying next to him at night. You're the one whose name I almost called out when… Lauren, Mark cut her off, laughing. I get it. And yes, I want you back. I never stopped wanting you. Chicago's been lonely as hell without you. I heard the rustle of movement, maybe an embrace. And Lauren's delighted squeal. Really, you mean it? I mean it, Mark confirmed. But I don't want you to string the poor guy along. If you're going to end it with Jake, do it soon. It's not fair to him. I know, Lauren said, suddenly sounding almost guilty. I'll do it this weekend. I'll tell him I need space or something. God, I feel terrible. But, Mark, we're really doing this. We're really doing this, he assured her. Now come here. The sounds became muffled again, and I could hear what was unmistakably kissing. My stomach churned. I was going to be sick. Finally. Mercifully. The call cut off. Maybe her phone died, or she finally noticed the call was active. I didn't care. I'd heard enough. I sat in my dark apartment, staring at my phone screen showing the call had lasted 17 minutes and 32 seconds. 17 minutes that had destroyed everything I thought I knew about my relationship. About Lauren? About myself? The code on my laptop screen blurred as tears I didn't realize I was crying dripped onto my keyboard. My phone buzzed with a text. Lauren, hey babe, having drinks with some clients. Might run late. Don't wait up. Love you. Clients? The lie came so easily to her. Another text followed immediately. Thinking about you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Sushi date? I stared at the messages, feeling a strange numbness wash over me. How many times had she lied to me? How many client dinners were really reunions with Mark? How many I love yous had been empty words to keep her placeholder in line. My fingers moved almost of their own accord, typing out a response. Having dinner with someone who actually wants to be with me. I hit send, then immediately blocked her number. It was petty. Maybe. But I couldn't bear to see her response, to read whatever lies she'd spin to cover her tracks. The apartment felt suffocating. I needed to get out, to move, to do something before the reality of what I'd heard crushed me completely. I grabbed my jacket and keys, not sure where I was going until I found myself calling Anna. Anna worked in HR at Vector Labs. We'd known each other for 3 years, ever since she'd handled my onboarding when I joined the company. She was smart, funny, and had become one of my closest friends at work. We grabbed coffee together most mornings, complained about difficult coworkers, and celebrated each other's wins. I'd always suspected she might have feelings for me that went beyond friendship. Little things like the way her face would light up when I walked into the break room, or how she'd find excuses to stop by my desk during the day. But she'd never crossed any lines, especially after I'd started dating Lauren. She'd been nothing but supportive, even though I'd caught a flash of something like disappointment in her eyes when I'd first mentioned my new girlfriend. Anna answered on the second ring. Jake, everything okay? You sound weird. Are you free right now? I asked, my voice rougher than I'd expected. I need a friend. Of course, she said immediately. Where are you? Do you want to come over? Or can we grab dinner? I haven't eaten, and I can't be in my apartment right now. Meet me at Rosario's in 20 minutes, she said, naming our favorite Italian place near the office. Jake, what's wrong? You're scaring me. I'll explain when I see you, I promised. Just, thanks, Anna. Rosario's was warm and dimly lit, the air heavy with the scent of garlic and basil. Anna was already waiting in a corner booth when I arrived, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, still wearing her work clothes. She'd ordered a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses. One look at my face and she was pouring generously. Talk to me, she said simply, pushing the glass across the table. I told her everything. The accidental call, the conversation I'd overheard, the word placeholder that kept echoing in my head. Anna listened without interrupting, her brown eyes growing wider with each detail. When I finished, she reached across the table and covered my hand with hers, Jake, I'm so sorry, she said softly. You don't deserve this, any of it. I feel like such an idiot, I admitted, taking a large swallow of wine. How did I not see it? How did I spend almost a year with someone who was just using me as a warm body until her ex came back? Because you're a good person who assumes the best in others, Anna said firmly. Because you loved her and trusted her. That's not stupidity, Jake. That's being human. A stupid human, I muttered. Stop it, Anna said, squeezing my hand. Lauren's the one who should feel stupid. She had someone amazing, someone who loved her completely. And she threw it away for some guy who already left her once. You think he won't do it again? I hadn't thought about it that way. Maybe they deserve each other. They do, Anna agreed. And you deserve so much better. You deserve someone who sees you as their first choice, not their safety net. Someone who appreciates how thoughtful you are, how you remember little details about people, how you always make terrible jokes when someone's having a bad day just to see them smile. I looked at her, really looked at her, maybe for the first time. Anna had always been there, a constant in my daily life that I'd taken for granted. She knew how I took my coffee, too much sugar, no cream. She knew that I stress-ate gummy bears when debugging particularly difficult code. She knew that I called my mom every Sunday without fail and that I'd been secretly taking pottery classes because I wanted to make my grandmother a vase for her birthday. You know, I said slowly, I just realized I've told you more about my life than I ever told Lauren. Anna's cheeks flushed slightly. We're friends. That's what friends do. Is that all we are? I asked, the wine making me braver than usual. Friends? She pulled her hand back, wrapping both around her wine glass. Jake, you just found out your girlfriend was cheating. You're hurt and probably a little drunk. Don't say something you'll regret tomorrow. What if I don't regret it? I pressed. Anna, be honest with me, please. After everything I heard tonight, I need someone to be honest with me. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, fine. You want honesty? I've had feelings for you since the day you walked into Vector Labs looking lost and carrying that ridiculous cactus for your desk. But you were always dating someone, or I was, and the timing was never right. Then you met Lauren, and you were so happy. So I buried those feelings and tried to be your friend, because having you in my life as a friend was better than not having you at all. My heart, which I'd thought was thoroughly broken, stirred slightly. Anna. But I'm not going to be your rebound, she continued firmly. I care about you too much for that. You need time to process what happened with Lauren, to heal. And when you're ready, really ready, if you still want to have this conversation, we can have it. I nodded, respecting her wisdom even as part of me wanted to protest that this wasn't about rebounding. You're right. You're always right. How do you do that? Years of practice, she said with a small smile. Now, let's order some food before you get too drunk to appreciate Rosario's lasagna. We spent the next 2 hours talking, and not about Lauren. Anna told me about her disaster of a date the previous week. The guy had brought his mother, and I shared stories from my pottery class failures. It felt normal, comfortable. Right in a way my dates with Lauren never had. With Lauren, I'd always felt like I was performing, trying to be the boyfriend she wanted. With Anna, I could just be myself. It was nearly 11 when we left the restaurant. Anna had switched to water after one glass, insisting one of us needed to stay sober. She drove me home, pulling up outside my apartment building. Will you be okay? She asked, genuine concern in her eyes. I'll survive, I said. Thank you for tonight, for listening, for being you. That's what friends do, she said softly. Get some sleep. Jake, tomorrow's going to be rough. She had no idea how right she was. I'd barely fallen asleep when the pounding started. At first, I incorporated it into my dream, something about hammering code into place. But the pounding persisted, accompanied by muffled shouting. I grabbed my phone, squinting at the screen. 1:17 a.m., and the pounding wasn't stopping. Jake opened the door. I know you're in there. Lauren, of course, I should have known blocking her number wouldn't be the end of it. Jake, please, we need to talk. Open the door. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, willing her to go away. But the pounding intensified, and I could hear my neighbor's door opening, muffled complaints about the noise. I'm not leaving until you talk to me, Lauren shouted. I'll stay here all night if I have to. Knowing Lauren's stubbornness, she probably would. I dragged myself out of bed, not bothering to put on more than the t-shirt and sweatpants I'd slept in. I made it to the door just as she started pounding again. Stop, I said through the door. You're waking up the entire building. Then let me in, she demanded. Jake, what the hell, you blocked my number? What's going on? I almost laughed at the audacity. She was really going to play innocent. Go home, Lauren. Better yet, go to Mark's hotel. I'm sure he's waiting for you. Silence, then, quietly. What are you talking about? You butt-dialed me, I said, leaning my forehead against the door. During your romantic reunion dinner, I heard everything, Lauren, everything. Oh my God, she whispered. Jake, it's not what you think. Let me explain. Explain what? I interrupted. How I'm just a placeholder, how you're planning to dump me the second Mark gives you the green light, how you think I'm safe and boring and predictable. Which part should we start with? I was drunk, she said desperately. I didn't mean any of it. Mark texted me out of the blue, wanted to catch up, and I'd had too much wine. I was just talking nonsense. Stop lying, I said tiredly. For once in our relationship, just stop lying. I heard you kiss him, Lauren. I heard you make plans to transfer to Chicago. So please, have a tiny bit of respect for me and stop lying. She started crying then. Great heaving sobs that once would have had me opening the door immediately. Now they just sounded hollow, manipulative. Please, she begged. Please let me in. I love you, Jake. I made a mistake. But I love you. No, I said simply. You don't. You love the idea of having someone devoted to you while you wait for what you really want. I'm done being that person. Jake, please. We're done. Lauren, I'll pack up your things and leave them with the doorman. Don't come here again. You can't just end it like this, she screamed, pounding on the door again. We've been together for a year. You owe me a conversation. I owe you nothing, I said, walking away from the door. Goodbye, Lauren. I went back to my bedroom, put in earplugs, and pulled a pillow over my head. Eventually, the pounding stopped. My phone, still on silent, lit up with dozens of calls from unknown numbers. She must have been borrowing other people's phones. I turned it off completely and tried to sleep. The next morning came too soon. I called in sick to work, knowing I'd be useless anyway. I spent the morning gathering Lauren's things, a few clothes, toiletries, the spare phone charger she kept by my bed, the coffee mug she'd claimed as hers. It all fit in one box, which seemed pathetic for almost a year together. Or maybe it was telling that she'd never really moved in, never really committed. I was taping up the box when my doorbell rang. Assuming it was Lauren again, I ignored it. But then my phone buzzed with a text from Anna. I'm outside your door with coffee and bagels. You don't have to talk, but you do have to eat. I opened the door to find Anna holding a carrier with 2 large coffees and a bag from my favorite bagel shop. She'd changed from her work clothes into jeans and a sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. Too much sugar, no cream, she said, handing me a coffee. And an everything bagel with veggie cream cheese. You're an angel, I said, stepping aside to let her in. She looked around my apartment, her eyes landing on the box of Lauren's things. How are you holding up? She came by at 1 a.m, I said, taking a grateful sip of coffee. Full meltdown in the hallway. I'm surprised Mrs. Chen didn't call the cops. What did she want? To explain? To lie some more? To convince me that kissing her ex and planning to move to Chicago for him was just a drunken mistake? I laughed bitterly. She actually tried to convince me she loves me. Anna sat on my couch, patting the spot next to her. People do crazy things when they're caught, when their comfortable situation is threatened. That's all I was, I said, sinking down beside her. A comfortable situation, someone to pay for dinners and tell her she's beautiful while she waited for her real love to come back. You know that says everything about her and nothing about you. Right? Anna said gently. Her inability to appreciate what she had doesn't diminish your worth. I know that logically, I admitted, but it still hurts. I thought we were building something real. You were, Anna said. Your feelings were real. Your commitment was real. Just because she wasn't capable of matching that doesn't make what you felt less valid. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, eating our bagels. Anna didn't push me to talk, didn't offer empty platitudes. She just sat with me, a steady presence in the chaos of my imploding life. I should probably take that box to the doorman, I said eventually. I'll come with you, Anna offered, in case she's lurking in the lobby. She wasn't, thankfully. The doorman, an older gentleman named George who'd seen many relationship dramas play out in the building, took the box without comment, just a sympathetic nod. On the way back up, Anna asked, What are you going to do with the rest of your day? Wallow in self-pity. I suggested, drink too much, question every interaction I've had for the past year. Counter-proposal, Anna said, Come to the farmer's market with me. Fresh air, good food, minimal chance of running into your ex since she thinks farmers markets are too early and too crowded. I looked at her in surprise. How did you know that? You mentioned it once. How she never wanted to go with you even though you love checking out the local produce. Anna shrugged. I listen when you talk. Something warm unfurled in my chest. You know what? A farmer's market sounds perfect. The market was bustling despite the cool October morning. Anna led the way, clearly a regular, greeting vendors by name. She bought apples from one stall, explaining they were perfect for the pie she was planning to make. At another, she debated between different types of honey, finally turning to me for input. Clover or wildflower, she asked, holding up 2 jars. Wildflower, I said without hesitation. More complex flavor. She smiled. Good choice. You can help me taste test the pie later. You're going to make me a pie. I'm going to make a pie, and if you're very good, I might share, she teased. We wandered through the market for over an hour. Anna introduced me to her favorite vendors, and we sampled cheeses, olives, and fresh bread. She told me about her weekend ritual of coming here early, how it helped her feel grounded before the chaos of the work week. I found myself relaxing, the knot in my chest loosening with each laugh Anna coaxed out of me. This is nice, I said as we sat on a bench, sharing a container of fresh strawberries. The market? All of it, I said. Being here with you, not pretending to be someone I'm not. Did you know Lauren once got mad at me for buying non-organic blueberries? Said it reflected poorly on her if her boyfriend didn't care about pesticides. Anna snorted. Please tell me you're joking. I wish. She also didn't like that I wore band t-shirts on weekends. Said I should dress more professionally, even on my days off. Your band t-shirts are vintage treasures, Anna protested. That Nirvana shirt from the '93 tour, that's practically a museum piece. You remember my Nirvana shirt? I remember a lot of things about you, Jake, she said softly, then quickly added, Look, they have fresh pasta. We should get some for dinner. The subject change wasn't subtle, but I appreciated it. We weren't ready for deeper conversations yet. But as we walked back through the market, Anna's hand occasionally brushing mine as she pointed out different stalls, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months with Lauren: genuine contentment. That evening, true to her word, Anna invited me over to help with the pie. Her apartment was exactly what I'd expected, warm, organized but lived in, with bookshelves covering most of the walls and plants in every window. She put me to work peeling apples while she made the crust from scratch. I can't remember the last time I baked anything, I admitted, fumbling with the peeler. Lauren wasn't into baking. Lauren wasn't into anything that might mess up her manicure, I said, then winced. Sorry, I'm trying not to be bitter. You're allowed to be bitter, Anna said, her hands working the dough expertly. You're allowed to be angry and hurt and petty. Just don't let it consume you. We worked in comfortable rhythm, music playing softly in the background. Anna told me about learning to bake from her grandmother, how it was their special bonding time every Sunday. I shared memories of helping my mom in the kitchen, how she'd let me lick the beaters when making cookies. See, Anna said as we slid the pie into the oven, you do have baking experience. I don't think eating raw cookie dough counts as experience. It's the most important part, she insisted with a grin. While the pie baked, we cooked dinner together, the fresh pasta from the market with a simple tomato sauce. Anna opened a bottle of wine, and we ate at her small dining table, the conversation flowing as easily as it did at work. Can I ask you something? I said as we were clearing the dishes. Always. Why didn't you ever say anything about your feelings? Anna considered this, drying a plate slowly. Because timing matters. You were with someone else, and I respect that. I've seen too many friendships ruined by someone confessing feelings at the wrong time. I valued what we had too much to risk it. And now you're hurting and vulnerable and probably not thinking clearly, she said honestly. My feelings haven't changed, Jake. But you need time to heal, to figure out who you are outside of that relationship. And I need to know that if something happens between us, it's because you genuinely want me, not because you're trying to fill a Lauren-shaped hole. You're being very mature about this, I said. I'm not sure I could be if the situation was reversed. Well, one of us has to be the adult, she teased. Then her expression grew serious. I've waited this long. I can wait a little longer. The timer went off, and Anna pulled the pie from the oven. It was perfect, golden brown with juice bubbling through the vents she'd cut in the top. The smell filled the apartment, cinnamon and apples and comfort. We should let it cool, Anna said, but I could see she was as eager to try it as I was. Or we could burn our tongues on molten apple filling like reckless rebels, I suggested. I knew I liked you for a reason, she laughed, already reaching for plates. We ate pie that was definitely too hot, laughing as we tried to cool our mouths with ice water. It was delicious anyway. The crust flaky and the filling just the right balance of sweet and tart. This is amazing, I said, going back for a second slice. You could sell these. I'll stick to HR, Anna said. But I'm glad you like it. Consider it medicinal pie. Good for broken hearts. Is that the official HR position on Breakup's medicinal pie? Absolutely. It's in the employee handbook under emotional distress remedies. We talked until late, the conversation meandering from work gossip to childhood memories to debates about whether pineapple belonged on pizza. Anna was firmly against. I was cautiously in favor. When I finally looked at the clock, it was past midnight. I should go, I said reluctantly. Thank you for today, for everything. Anytime, Anna said, walking me to the door. And I mean that. If you need to talk, or just need distraction, I'm here. On impulse, I hugged her. She stiffened for a moment in surprise, then relaxed into it, her arms coming around me. She smelled like cinnamon and apples and something uniquely Anna. It's going to be okay, she whispered against my shoulder. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but eventually. I'm starting to believe that, I said, pulling back to look at her. Thanks to you. I saw something flicker in her eyes, longing, maybe, or hope, but she just smiled and stepped back. Text me when you get home so I know you made it safely. The walk home was cold but clear, stars visible despite the city lights. I felt lighter than I had since hearing that phone call. My relationship with Lauren was over, truly over. And while that hurt, it also felt like a weight had been lifted. I'd been trying so hard to be what she wanted. I'd lost track of who I actually was. My phone buzzed as I reached my building. A text from an unknown number. Jake, it's Lauren. Please don't delete this. I know I messed up, but we can work through this. What we have is worth fighting for. I'll do whatever it takes. Counseling, therapy, anything. Just give me another chance. I love you. I stared at the message for a long moment, then deleted it without responding. What we had wasn't worth fighting for because what we had wasn't real. It was me loving someone who was using me as a consolation prize. That wasn't love. What Anna and I had, friendship, respect, genuine care for each other, that was a foundation for something real. Even if it never became romantic, it was already more honest than anything I'd shared with Lauren. I texted Anna that I'd made it home, and she responded immediately with a thumbs up and a slice of pie emoji. Simple, silly, perfect. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The weekend passed in a blur of normalcy. I deep cleaned my apartment, removing all traces of Lauren. I went to my pottery class and actually managed to make something that resembled a bowl. I called my mom and told her about the breakup, enduring her sympathy and not-so-subtle hints about the nice girl from her book club's daughter. Monday morning, I returned to work feeling almost human. I'd barely sat down at my desk when Anna appeared with coffee and a sympathetic smile. Ready to face the masses, she asked. As ready as one can be for office gossip, I said, accepting the coffee gratefully. If it helps, I may have sent a very professional email reminding everyone about our harassment and gossip policies, she said with an innocent expression. Abuse of HR power for personal gain. I gasped in mock horror. I'm scandalized. I prefer to think of it as proactive employee wellness management, she said primly, then winked. Besides, what's the point of being in HR if I can't occasionally remind people to mind their own business? The morning went smoothly until around 11, when the receptionist called my desk. Jake, there's a Lauren here to see you. Says it's urgent. I closed my eyes, counting to 10. Tell her I'm in a meeting. She says she'll wait. Of course she would. I'll be right down. I found Lauren in the lobby, looking perfectly put together in a designer suit and heels. She'd clearly come from her own office, probably during her lunch break. When she saw me, her face lit up with a smile that would have melted me a week ago. Now it just looked calculated. Jake, Thank God. I was worried you wouldn't come down. What do you want, Lauren? I kept my voice neutral, professional. Several of my coworkers were passing through the lobby, trying not to stare. Can we talk somewhere private? She asked, reaching for my arm. I stepped back. We can talk right here. You have 5 minutes. Her perfectly composed mask slipped a little. Jake, please, don't be like this. I made a mistake. Okay. One stupid mistake. Are you really going to throw away a year over one dinner? One dinner. I couldn't help but laugh. Lauren, you told him you'd been thinking about him every time I touched you. You called me a placeholder. You made plans to uproot your entire life for him. That's not one mistake. That's a relationship built on lies. I was confused, she insisted, tears welling in her eyes. I wondered if they were real or if she'd practiced in the car. Seeing Mark brought up old feelings, but it made me realize what I have with you is so much better. He's exciting. Yes, but you're stable. You're my future. Stable, I repeated. Safe, boring, predictable. Your words, not mine. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. I interrupted. You meant every word. And you know what, you're right. I am those things. I'm the guy who brings you flowers just because it's Tuesday. I'm the guy who remembers your coffee order and your mom's birthday. I'm the guy who plans dates around your schedule and watches those terrible reality shows you love without complaining. I'm steady and reliable, and apparently, that's not enough for you. It is enough, she cried, and now the tears were definitely real. Jake, I choose you, not Mark, you. No, I said quietly. You're choosing security. You're choosing the safe option because the exciting option didn't pan out the way you hoped. What happened? Lauren. Did Mark change his mind about wanting you back? Did he remember why he chose Chicago over you in the first place? Her face went pale, and I knew I'd hit the mark. It wasn't like that. Goodbye, Lauren. I turned to go. I'll wait, she called after me. I'll prove to you that I'm serious. I'll wait as long as it takes. I stopped, looking back at her one last time. Don't. Find someone else to be your backup plan. I'm done. I took the stairs back to my floor, needing the physical activity to burn off the adrenaline. Anna was waiting by my desk, having clearly heard about the lobby drama through the office grapevine. You okay? She asked quietly. Actually, yeah, I said, surprised to realize it was true. I think I am. That evening, Anna invited me to join her and some friends for trivia night at a local bar. I almost said no, not feeling particularly social, but the alternative was sitting home alone. And I'd done enough of that. The bar was crowded and noisy, but Anna had secured a table in the corner. Her friends were welcoming, folding me into their team without awkward questions about why I was suddenly joining their Monday night tradition. We were terrible at trivia, coming in second to last. But it didn't matter. I laughed more than I had in months, especially when Anna confidently declared that the capital of Australia was Sydney, then refused to believe us when we told her it was Canberra. I'm Googling this, she announced, pulling out her phone. A moment later, well, that's just ridiculous. Who makes Canberra the capital of anything? The Australians, apparently, her friend Maria said dryly. As we were leaving, Anna pulled me aside. Thanks for coming tonight. I know it wasn't easy. It was exactly what I needed, I admitted. Your friends are great. They liked you too. Maria asked if you were single. She said it casually, but I caught the tension in her voice. What did you tell her? That you were recently out of a relationship and probably not ready to date yet. That's very presumptuous of you, I said, trying to keep my tone light. Maybe I'm ready to jump right back in. Anna studied my face seriously. Are you? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I admitted. Not yet. But I'm getting there. Good, she said simply. Take your time. The right person will wait. The look in her eyes made it clear she wasn't talking hypothetically. Over the next few weeks, I settled into a new routine. Work during the day, where Anna and I maintained our easy friendship with an undercurrent of something more. Evenings were for rediscovering who I was outside of a relationship. I went to the gym, hung out with friends I'd neglected. Finally finished the coding project I'd been working on for months. Lauren didn't give up easily. She sent flowers to my office. Anna quietly had them donated to the nearby hospital. She showed up at my pottery class. The instructor kindly asked her to leave when I explained the situation. She even contacted my mother, spinning some story about a misunderstanding. My mom, bless her, told Lauren in no uncertain terms that she'd raised her son to recognize his worth and not settle for someone who didn't appreciate him. The extinction burst, as Anna called it, came 3 weeks after the breakup. I was working late, the office nearly empty. When the fire alarm went off, we all trudged outside, grumbling about the timing. That's when I saw her, Lauren, standing across the street, watching the building entrance. "You've got to be kidding me," I muttered. Anna, who'd been in a meeting when the alarm went off, appeared at my elbow. She followed my gaze and sighed. "Want me to call security?" "No," I decided. "I think it's time to end this properly." I crossed the street, Anna staying close enough to intervene if needed. Lauren's face brightened when she saw me approaching, then fell when she noticed Anna. "Jake, I've been trying to reach you." By stalking me at work, I interrupted. "Lauren, this has to stop. I just need you to understand." "I understand perfectly," I said firmly. "You settled for me because the person you really wanted wasn't available. When he became available, you were ready to drop me instantly. When that didn't work out, you tried to come back to your safe option. I understand all of that. What you need to understand is that I will never be anyone's second choice again." "You're not." "I am." I cut her off. "Every time you look at me, you'll be thinking about him, wondering what if, comparing us, settling. And I deserve better than that. We both do." Lauren's eyes filled with tears again, but for the first time, they seemed genuine rather than manipulative. "I really did love you," she said quietly. "In my way." "I know," I said, and meant it. "But your way isn't enough for me anymore." She looked between Anna and me, something like understanding dawning on her face. "Is she—" "A friend," I said firmly. "A good friend who helped me realize I deserve someone who chooses me first. Always." Lauren nodded slowly, defeat in every line of her body. "I'm sorry, Jake, for all of it." "I know," I said again. "Take care of yourself, Lauren, and please, don't contact me again." This time, when I walked away, I knew she wouldn't follow. Anna fell into step beside me, not saying anything until we were back in the building. "You handled that well," she said finally. "I had a good example to follow," I replied, remembering her composure and dignity throughout this whole mess. "Flattery will get you everywhere," she said lightly, but her cheeks were pink. A month passed. November arrived with rain and early darkness. But I barely noticed. I was busy, genuinely busy. Not just filling time to avoid thinking. Work was picking up with end-of-year projects. My pottery skills had progressed to the point where I'd actually made something my grandmother might display rather than hide politely. I'd started running again, something I'd given up because Lauren preferred gym selfies to actual exercise. Anna and I had fallen into an easy rhythm. Coffee every morning, lunch together twice a week, the occasional dinner when we both worked late. We still hadn't crossed the line into anything romantic, but the potential hummed between us like electricity. Sometimes I'd catch her looking at me with soft eyes, or she'd laugh at one of my terrible jokes with genuine delight. And I'd think soon. It was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving when everything shifted. I was in my office, wrestling with a particularly stubborn bug, when Anna knocked on my door. "Bad time?" she asked. "Perfect time," I said, pushing back from my desk. "I need a break before I throw my laptop out the window." She laughed, coming in and perching on the edge of my desk. "Rough day." "Just this code being difficult. What's up?" She fidgeted with a paper clip, unusually nervous. "I have a question, and I need you to be honest with me." "Always," I said, giving her my full attention. My parents are doing their big Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. The whole family will be there, cousins, aunts, uncles, the works. They've been asking about you. About me, I was confused. Why? Because I may have mentioned you. A lot. Over the past 3 years. She was blushing now, not meeting my eyes. My mom is convinced you're imaginary at this point, so I was wondering, would you like to come as my friend? She added quickly. No pressure, no expectations, just good food and meeting the people who made me who I am. I thought about my own Thanksgiving plans, flying home to deflect questions about Lauren and my love life. Then I thought about spending the day with Anna, meeting her family, being part of her world in a new way. I'd love to, I said simply. Her face lit up. Really, you don't have plans? Nothing that can't be rearranged. My mom will understand. She'll probably be thrilled, actually. She's been Team Anna since I told her about the pie. You told your mom about the pie. I tell my mom everything. She says you're clearly a keeper and I'd be an idiot not to lock you down. I paused, realizing what I'd said. I mean, she thinks you're a good friend. Right, Anna said, but she was smiling. A good friend who makes excellent pie. The best pie, I agreed. So, what should I bring to dinner? Wine. Another pie. My sparkling personality. Just yourself, she said, hopping off my desk. Fair warning, though, my family is huge and nosy and will absolutely assume we're dating no matter how many times I correct them. I think I can handle it, I said. I survived meeting Lauren's family, and they actively tried to convince her she could do better. Anna's expression darkened. They what? Her mom once pulled her aside at a dinner party to point out that her ex Mark was making partner at his firm while I was just a software engineer. I said, trying to keep my tone light. Should have been a red flag, really. Your job is amazing, Anna said indignantly. You're literally building technology that helps thousands of people. You're creative and innovative and… She cut herself off, blushing again. Sorry, I just hate when people don't appreciate what you do. See, this is why my mom likes you, I said, touched by her defense. You get righteously indignant on my behalf. Someone has to, she muttered, then shook her head. Anyway, I'll text you my parents' address. Dinner's at 2, but come early if you want to experience the full chaos of my mom cooking for 20 people. Wouldn't miss it, I promised. After she left, I sat back in my chair, a warm feeling spreading through my chest. Meeting the family was a big step. Even as friends, it meant something. It meant we were moving forward, even if slowly. I called my mom that night to tell her about the change in plans. As predicted, she was thrilled. Finally, she exclaimed, I was starting to think you'd never make a move. We're just friends, Mom, I protested. I'm going as her friend. She said, clearly not believing me. Well, you tell your friend that I expect to meet her at Christmas. It's only fair. Mom, Jacob David Morrison, that girl has been waiting for you for 3 years. Do not mess this up. How does everyone know about her feelings except me? I groaned. Because you were blinded by that horrible Lauren, she said bluntly. But that's over now. And you have a chance with someone who actually deserves you. Don't let fear or overthinking get in your way. She was right, of course. Mothers usually are about these things. Thanksgiving morning dawned crisp and clear. I dressed carefully, nice enough to make a good impression, but not so formal that I looked like I was trying too hard. I stopped at a bakery to grab fresh dinner rolls, despite Anna's instruction to bring nothing, and headed to her parents' house in the suburbs. The house was exactly what I'd pictured, a 2-story colonial with a wraparound porch and kids' toys scattered across the lawn. Cars already filled the driveway and spilled onto the street. I could hear laughter and voices before I even reached the door. Anna answered my knock, looking beautiful in a burgundy sweater and jeans, her hair pulled back in a loose bun. You made it, and you brought rolls, even though I specifically said, I was raised properly, I said. You never show up empty-handed. She smiled, taking the bag. Come on, Let me introduce you to everyone before they overwhelm you en masse. The house was warm and smelled amazing. Turkey, cinnamon, fresh bread. Anna led me through to the kitchen where a woman who could only be her mother was orchestrating what looked like controlled chaos. Mom, this is Jake, Anna said. Jake, my mom. Rosa. Rosa turned, her face lighting up with a smile that was pure Anna. Jake. Finally, I was beginning to think Anna made you up. She pulled me into a hug without hesitation. Welcome, welcome. Anna's told us so much about you. All good things, I hope, I said, returning the hug. The best things, Rosa confirmed, giving Anna a meaningful look that made her daughter blush. Now, can you cook? I can follow directions, I offered. Perfect. You're on mashed potato duty. Anna will show you where everything is. And just like that, I was absorbed into the Valdez family Thanksgiving. Anna's father, Carlos, recruited me to help deep fry the turkey in the backyard. Anna says you're an engineer, you'll appreciate the thermodynamics. Her brothers, Tony and Miguel, grilled me about my job while we monitored oil temperature. Her sister Maria cornered me while I was peeling potatoes to not so subtly interrogate me about my intentions toward Anna. We're just friends, I said for what felt like the 100th time. Maria snorted. Right. And I'm just casually married to my best friend. She gestured to where her husband was playing with their toddler. Word of advice. The best relationships start as friendships. You already know you like each other as people. The rest is just bonus. It's complicated, I said. I just got out of a relationship with someone who didn't deserve you, from what Anna's told me. Maria interrupted. Look, I'm not saying rush into anything. I'm just saying, don't let fear of getting hurt again keep you from something that could be amazing. Before I could respond, Anna appeared. Maria, stop terrorizing my friend. I'm not terrorizing, I'm advising, Maria said innocently. Jake, back me up here. I plead the fifth, I said, grateful for the escape. Smart man, Anna said, grabbing my hand. Come on, let me show you the family photo wall before dinner. She led me to a hallway lined with photos spanning decades, baby pictures, graduations, weddings, candid family moments. Anna pointed out highlights, her brother's military service, her sister's wedding, her parents' immigration from Mexico. This is my favorite, she said, indicating a photo of a young Anna, maybe 8 years old, covered in flour and grinning at the camera. First time making pie with my grandma. You were adorable, I said, studying the photo. Still are, I added without thinking. She bumped her shoulder against mine. Careful, Jake. My family already thinks we're dating. Comments like that won't help. Would that be such a bad thing? I asked quietly. Them thinking that? She looked up at me, something shifting in her expression. Jake. Anna, Jake, dinner's ready. Rosa's voice carried from the dining room. Anna stepped back, the moment broken. Come on, you haven't lived until you've experienced a Valdez family prayer circle. Dinner was incredible, not just the food, though that was amazing, but the whole experience. 23 people crammed around extended tables, passing dishes, talking over each other, laughing at inside jokes that Anna whispered explanations for. I hadn't felt this welcomed by a family since, well, ever. Even my own family gatherings weren't this warm. So Jake, Anna's uncle Roberto said during a lull in conversation, Anna says you're recently single. You dating again yet? Uncle Rob, Anna protested. What I'm just asking, my neighbor has a daughter. He's not interested in your neighbor's daughter, Anna said firmly. How do you know? Let the man speak for himself. All eyes turned to me. I could have deflected, made a joke, changed the subject. Instead, I looked at Anna and decided to be brave. Actually, I'm hoping to date someone, but I'm trying to be patient and do things right this time. Smart man. Carlos nodded approvingly. The best things are worth waiting for. That's what I keep hearing, I said, still looking at Anna. Her cheeks were pink, but she was smiling. After dinner, I helped with cleanup despite protests that guests shouldn't work. Anna and I ended up side by side at the sink. washing and drying in companionable silence while the rest of the family dispersed to watch football or play board games. "Your family's wonderful," I said, handing her a clean plate. "They're a lot," she said, "but they mean well. They love you, and they want you to be happy." "Yeah, well, they also think they know what will make me happy better than I do sometimes." "Do they," I asked carefully, "know what would make you happy?" She was quiet for a moment, concentrating on drying a serving platter. I used to think I knew, had it all planned out. Then, life got complicated. "Life's always complicated," I said. "But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe the complications are what make it interesting." She looked at me then, really looked at me. "When did you get so wise?" "Somewhere between the mashed potatoes and the third helping of pie," I said, making her laugh. "Speaking of pie," she said, "want to help me make another one? Mom wants to send everyone home with leftovers, but the desserts are running low." "Lead the way," I said, following her to the now empty kitchen. We worked together easily, muscle memory from our previous baking session kicking in. Anna rolled out the crust while I prepared the filling. It felt domestic, comfortable, right in a way that made my chest tight with wanting. "Jake," Anna said suddenly, "can I ask you something?" "Always." "Are you happy? I mean, really happy? Not just okay or getting by, but genuinely happy with where your life is right now?" I considered the question seriously. A month ago, I would have said no immediately. But now? "Yeah," I said, surprising myself. "I think I am. My job is good. I have great friends. I'm finally making pottery that doesn't look like abstract art. I'm figuring out who I am outside of trying to be what someone else wants. It's freeing." "Good," she said softly. "You deserve to be happy." "What about you?" I asked. "Are you happy?" She looked at me, flower in her hair and vulnerability in her eyes. "I'm getting there. Some days are better than others. Today's been a really good day." "Yeah." I stepped closer, drawn by something in her voice. "Yeah," she confirmed. "Having you here, seeing how well you fit with my family, how easy this all feels, it's been really good." We were standing very close now, her back against the counter, my hands braced on either side of her. The kitchen was warm and smelled like apples and cinnamon. From the living room came the distant sound of her family laughing at something on TV. "Anna," I said quietly, "I need to tell you something." "Okay," she whispered. "I'm falling for you. Have been for a while now, I think. Maybe even before Lauren and I ended, which probably makes me a terrible person. But..." She stopped me with a finger against my lips. "You're not terrible. You're human. And for what it's worth, I've been falling for you since the day you walked into Vector Labs with that ridiculous cactus." "Really, the cactus worked." She laughed, the sound bright and free. "Everything about you worked. I just had terrible timing." "Maybe," I said, "our timing is finally right." "Maybe," she agreed, her eyes dropping to my lips. I was about to kiss her, everything in me screaming to close the distance, when Maria burst into the kitchen. "Mom wants to know about the pie." "Oh." She stopped short, taking in our position. A huge grin spread across her face. "Never mind, the pie can wait. Carry on." She backed out quickly, but we could hear her stage whisper to someone. They were about to kiss. I totally called it. Anna dropped her head to my chest, groaning. "I'm so sorry. My family has no boundaries." "I love your family," I said, meaning it. "But maybe we should finish this conversation somewhere with fewer interruptions." "Rain check," she asked, looking up at me. "I want to do this right. Jake, you're too important to rush." "Rain check," I agreed, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "But just so we're clear, this is definitely happening, right? You and me." "It's definitely happening," she confirmed. "After all, I invested 3 years in this. I'm not backing out now." We finished the pie, stealing glances and smiles like teenagers. When it was time to leave, Anna walked me to my car, her family watching not so subtly from the windows. Thank you for today, she said. For coming, for helping, for being you. Thank you for inviting me, for being patient, for making really excellent pie. She laughed, going up on her toes to kiss my cheek. Drive safe. I'll see you Monday. Wouldn't miss it. I promised. As I drove home, I couldn't stop smiling. My phone buzzed at a red light, a text from Anna. Maria says we're adorable. The rest of the family's already planning our wedding. Just FYI. I texted back, tell them I appreciate the enthusiasm, but we should probably have our first official date first. Her response was immediate. Saturday real date. No family interference. I promise. It's a date, I confirmed. And it was. That Saturday. I picked Anna up for our first official date. She'd chosen a restaurant I'd mentioned wanting to try months ago, remembering yet another small detail about me. We talked for hours, the conversation flowing as easily as always, but charged with new possibilities. When I walked her to her door at the end of the night, I finally kissed her properly. 3 years of waiting poured into the moment. Worth the wait? She asked breathlessly when we pulled apart. Worth everything, I said, meaning it. 6 months later, I was back in the Valdez family kitchen, helping prep for another gathering. This time, Anna wore a ring on her left hand, a simple solitaire that she'd fallen in love with at first sight, much like she claimed had happened with me and my cactus. You sure your mom won't mind us stealing her thunder? Anna asked, arranging appetizers. We'd planned to announce our engagement at her mom's birthday party. Are you kidding? She's been planning our wedding since I told her about Thanksgiving. She'll be thrilled. I wrapped my arms around her from behind. Besides, your family has probably already figured it out. Maria's been staring at your hand all day. I may have already told Maria, Anna admitted, and possibly my mom and my brothers. Okay, fine. Everyone knows. But they're pretending they don't so you can do your big announcement. I laughed, spinning her around to face me. Have I told you lately that I love you? Only about 12 times today, she said, grinning. But I'm not complaining. Good, because I plan to tell you every day for the rest of our lives. That's a lot of days, she pointed out. I'm up for the challenge if you are. Always, she promised, pulling me down for a kiss. From the doorway came a collective awe from her assembled family members who'd apparently been watching. I told you they couldn't wait until the party, Maria called out. Pay up, Miguel. As her family descended on us with congratulations and questions about wedding plans, I caught Anna's eye. She was laughing, trying to answer 3 questions at once, absolutely radiant with happiness. This, the chaos, the warmth, the love surrounding us. This was what I'd been looking for all along. Not someone who saw me as a placeholder or a safe option, but someone who chose me first, every single time. Lauren had done me a favor with that accidental phone call. She'd shown me what I didn't want, what I deserved better than. She'd cleared the path for something real, something worth waiting for, something that started with friendship and built into forever. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's just living well, loving deeply, and finding someone who sees your worth from day one. Someone who makes you laugh, bakes you pie, and stands by you through every complicated, messy, beautiful moment of life. Sometimes the best revenge is simply being happy. And I was completely, utterly, perfectly happy.